Okay, so now we come to a very special new part, and this is definitely going to be in your papers, what we're going to do now here. Okay, and this is what we call arc length. So perhaps you can just write this in your workbooks, arc length, and the area sector. This is new things. So let's think of a piece of pizza that you are eating. Sometimes it's a cheese, then it's a cake. This question is also always there in the papers. Now we want the arc length. That is the arc that we are talking about. So can you see that this is part of your circumference? The arc length is then part of your circumference. So this is this part that we're talking here. That's why we say it is theta out of 360 degrees. Why 360? Because here it's a revolution. And then of 2pr. That is the formula that we're going to use for arc length. To find that arc length, is that one that we're going to use. Okay, so let's look in the textbooks. This is then on page 260. There's examples, and we're going to do now exercise 16.9, page 261. Page 261. Right, so let's look at this one. For each of the following, give the length of the arc to one decimal place. O is the center of the circle. So I'm going to do the first one now together with you. Number 1A. Okay, so you can see that's exactly like the picture there. So what will be the arc length? Theta over 360 degrees of 2pr. And in this case, the radius is 8. So that's how we calculate that one. Come in your workbooks now, exercise 16.9, 6.28 centimeters because it's arc length. Can you see? It's arc length. Okay, I want you to do now B, C, and D. Yeah, I showed you here. There. The arc length, that's the arc length. This is the radius. That's the arc length that we're calculating now. Okay, so I want you to do B to D. Okay, let's quickly try B to D. Okay, so let's quickly mark then B, C, and D. So what did you get now, Jean-Pierre? 8 out of 360 times 2pr. In this case, it's radius. What do you get? You can even give your answer in terms of P. We can do that as well. Right, yeah. Then number C. So 110, some calculators give it like that. They just give it in terms of that. 360 of 2p, and the radius is 6 this time. 11.5. Okay, and then number D, is it exact then, or did you round off? Right, and what about the last one? 270 over 360 of 2pr. And this time the radius is 5. Okay, so you can see it's quite easy. You just need to know the formula there.
I'm Debula, so let's get on the road with this. Having someone who likes what you like can be great. It gives you something to chat about and share with each other, yeah? But what if you both want to be at the very top of what you're doing and your main rival is your brother? Can you imagine?
Mount Neurogongo, located in the Democratic Republic of Congo, is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. It's found in the Virunga Mountains and located 6 miles from Goma. So what caused Mount Neurogongo to erupt?
This is Women in African Music virtual exhibition. It was created by the British-Nigerian documentary photographer Michael Tubes.
Women in African Music exhibition is about celebrating women behind the scene and women performing on the stage.
Okay, now let me explain to you and then we'll go to the textbook. Let's take your grade 10 exam. 0 to 19, 20 to 29, this was the groups, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and then the last one is then 80 to 100. Now I have group data. You can think if we are 24,000 learners or 48,000 are writing the grade 10 exam, it makes no sense to put them from 0. Then we work with group data. And you will agree, this was an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So that's what we're using. So now we get the frequencies in the next column. That's the results there. Now, to calculate the mean now, what did we say was mean now all the time? Total divided by frequency. But now, what are you going to take now? You've got a group now. So we have to make a new column here, which we call mid-value. And this is so important, mid-value, because you can't do it the other way. So what we do, and I want you on your calculators to do it, you add the 2 and you divide it by 2. Doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter if it looks like this and this or whatever, you add the 2 and divide by 2, yes? Right, this one, 20 to 29, 24.5, 34.5, 44.5, these ones are all the same, 54.5, 64.5, 74.5, this one, and now the last one is 90. The mid value there is 90. So Joshua, they don't need to be the same. It can be different ones there. Then we make another new column which we call FX. And FX is then the mid value times the frequency. The mid value times the frequency. Come, so let's quickly get that. 2 times 9.5 is again 19. This one is 24.5. This one is 0. 44.5. Okay, let's calculate quickly here. 2 times 54.5. 109. 6 times 64. 8 times 74. 596. And 4 times 90 is 360. So now the total is your fx. So now it's going to become fx divided by f. So now we add this total and we have to get the total here. Come, you add that and I'll add here. Do you agree? 1,540 divided by 24. So 64.2. That was then the average mark for this grade 10 exam. The results that were. Now, the mean is your most accurate one. Your mean is usually your most accurate one. Yeah, but you can, that question comes up. It's a very good question, how accurate it is. It's not so precise because we work with group data. Because you can get a lot of learners who have in the 80s and very few actually in the 90s, but we say that the middle is there at 90. But this is how you calculate group data. They ask you sometimes, why is it not accurate? And then the answer is because it is group data. You can say that. Okay, but this is then what we're going to do now. So I want you in your textbooks to look on page 349, and then we're going to do an example there. Even if we mark in Windhoek and you have to give the ratings where you're going, then you tally them like this, in groups like this. You sit with 500 and then that you've marked, and then you tally them all to get this. You add the 2 and divide by 2. We're just going to do a few out of the textbook, and then we're going to do it out of Cambridge questions because you'll get a better idea there with the Cambridge questions. Let's look at number 1. The heights of 50 basketball players attending a tournament are recorded in the group frequency table. You must now be in your workbook. We're now in the workbook. Note, and that's important, that part, 1.8 means it's from 1.8 to 1.9. So I'm going to rather to write it like this. So you set up a table now in your work. So, and we're going to make 4 columns. You'll have to make 4 columns there. So this is then the height. This is the frequency. And this one we're going now to call mid value. because we get mean with mid values, and that one is fx. This one is fx then. Okay. Now, so I think it should be better if you write it like this, is less than, the height is less than 1.9. Otherwise, we're going to struggle. 1.9 is less than equal than the height is less than 2. Then 2 is less than equal than the height is less than 2.1. 2.2 is less than equal than the height is less than equal than 2.2 to 2.4. So that's the columns that I have there. Now the frequencies 2, 5, 10, 22, 7, and 4. Okay, right, so we continue now with statistics, and at this stage we are looking at the mean and the mean of group data. So we did a table yesterday on page 349, exercise 21.3, exercise 21.3 on page 349. And that is where we have to calculate now the mean. So we made the columns of the height, then it was the frequency, then we made the column of the mid value, and then we set fx. That was how we worked out. We did all the columns already yesterday. So now we'll have to add fx divided by f. This is how we're going to get the mean. So in your table, you still have the information there in front of you. Just add all those values of fx. We've given them yesterday, so just add them. It's in your workbook. In your workbook. So the frequency is 2, 5, 10, 22, 7, and 4. Now, how do I get that mid value? So I said you add the 2 and divide it by 2. So 1.8 plus 1.9 divided by 2 will give you 1.85. The second one will be 1.95. Then 2.05, 2.15, 2.25, and the last one is 2.35. Yes, we were busy with it in your workbook. Right, and then fx. So if the 2 times mid value will give you fx. 3.7, 5 times 1.95, 9.75, 10 times this one, so it's 20.5, 22 times 2.15, 47.3, and 7 times 2.25, and 4 times 2.35. Okay, so now you add this column of fx. Add your column of fx. What is the total now? If you add fx, 106.6. And what was the frequency? 50. It was given right at the beginning. So now the mean is 106.6 divided by 50. Divide by 50. And that's how you get the mean of group data. The mean of group data. 2.13. Just be careful. I see so often the learners will know what to do, but they make a mistake somewhere here and then you lose the marks. It counts usually 4 marks, mid value, fx, there, and the answer. So it's a question that counts a lot of marks. 2.113. Okay, and then they say, estimate the mean, and if you look at the original table, which one is the modal height? Modal is like mode. No, 2.2, yeah, 2.1 to 2.2. That is the modal group. Okay, now when I give you the Cambridge questions, we're going to do more of this. There's a lot of them in there. They have nice tables and taking it then also further, so I prefer those questions. Now, if you look on page 350, we look at scatter diagrams. Now, in the whole of maths of my 30 years, I think I'm teaching this higher level maths, there was one question on scatter diagrams. But you get this in biology. They ask that. So that is when we don't have information which gives you a straight line graph. Can you see it's scattered? And then usually you draw the line sort of there in the middle where you can find the middle of that one. So we get a strong positive correlation when they're close to each other, a weak one when they're far away, and no correlation if you just plot points and there's no correlation. So as I say, this is not asked very often then there. So now we want to look on page 355 at histograms. Page 355 at histograms. So you can write down now histograms, and this is now very important. We're going to draw a lot of this histogram. Histograms is the area of the bar gives the frequency. The area of the bar gives the frequency. The area of the bar gives the frequency. Okay, so you've heard about a histogram, but you've never drawn them. So now we're looking at these ones. Now, if I go back, you don't need to write this down now. If I go back now to that results of grade 10, which we did the other day, and we said the first group is 0 to 19, 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 100. So now you can see the first bar and the last one has a double width. These ones are 10, 10, 10 more or less, and this one is, the first one and the last one is then, because it's between 0 and 20 and 80 to 100. Yeah. Well, now, this is how they do it. That's how they conduct the exam. Between 0 to 19 is a symbol, and between 80 to 100 is an A. Yeah, so that's what we have. Okay, so now we have frequencies 2, 0, 1, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. If we draw this histogram now here, then on the x-axis we're going to work with group data. So this group is now going to be 0 to 20, and then 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and there's 100. And this becomes your frequency density. You write here the frequency density. Look at this because it's worth a mark when we mark these graphs now here. And now the bar width will tell me now what to do. So this one is a double width. Yeah, let's first start with these ones. This one is 0, so it will just be there. Now, 30 to 31 is 1, so I'm going to draw this one as a 1 there. And then the next one is also a 1, so it will have the same height. This one, okay, so this one is 5. So this one I draw up 5. I first draw the single bars. This one is 6. So it goes up a little, you just draw it neatly. This one is 7, so it goes up a little bit higher. There we have it. But now we're looking at those other bars. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Those two bars are double now in the length. So now their height must be half of it. Can you see? So if this one is 2, I shall actually only draw this one also there at 1, at the same height as those two. Now, it's the width here is double. The area of the bar gives the frequency. So this one is 2, but that's it. The 2 already there. The frequency is already 2, so that it must now be only to 1. 1 times 2 is the area. 1 times 1 is this one. You must be able to read it off with the area of the bar gives the frequency. You must be able to do that then. And look at the last one. This one's frequency is 8. The bar width is double, so I'm going to draw this one up to 4.
anything. He should be everything. Strength provider, the architect of every ring. Experience penny, yeah, will see the face of God in living. And I made it to Ganwakin. I pray to God for my enemy. Why you ready? Why you baby? Wanna baby? Insta baby, Insta baby, Insta baby. Why you lying? Everybody shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move what your mama gave ya. Everybody shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move, yeah, lost fight.
You are now watching the V10 Countdown.
Okay, so we're looking at a cumulative frequency today. We are now going to draw them, also the histograms. We haven't practiced that good enough. Ferdinand, so this is a very nice question because you have the cumulative frequency there and we can just read it off. Ferdinand collects the examination marks of 60 students. He uses them to draw the cumulative frequency diagram, which shows the number of students who score X marks or loss. Use the graph. So we have to read it now off from the graph. Now, if my frequency is 60, where will I find the median? In the middle. So this is at 30. I draw a broken line and I read it off. Remember that you will read it off there every time. Right, Abigail, what do you get for the median? 55, 56, you might differ a little bit here. The upper quartile, now we said the upper quartile is then 3/4 of the frequency of 60. So that means you're going to read this one off at 45. So there at 45, we draw the broken line and we read off that value, 62. And then they say the interquartile range. So now we first have to find 1/4 of 60 again, which is 15. So here at 15, you read it off. So 47, and then the range means you have to subtract those two values. So the answer is 15. 15. The interquartile range is 15. Then John tells Ferdinand he has not considered the top students of the class. They scored more than 75 marks. Use the marks for all 80 students now to complete the following statements. Now, if you have 80 students, where will your median now be? So I will read it off. 1/4 of 60 is 15, but you must read it off. Where's the new median mark now if we read it at 40? 60. So the new median mark is now 60, the new median. And then they say the percentage of candidates who fail when the pass mark is 50. Now again, if we read off 50, you get what? 18. 18 students. So now we have to calculate the percentage. So it's 18 out of the 80 students, and I need to change it to a percentage. So the answer is then 22.5%. 22.5%. Right, so that was now a nice one where we had the cumulative frequency. The second one is also drawn for you, so we can just also read it off there. Answer the whole of this question on a sheet of graph paper. It's the live births in thousands. Just look at that, in thousands. So your answers must also be in thousands against the mother's age. Find the total number of live births in Scotland in 1936. One block represents 10, a unit of 10 represents one little block. So it's one block for each one. I would say 64,000. So 64,000, that's where you read it off. Then the next one, find the number of live births in which the mother's age was less than 30. So now we read it off at 30, and what do you read off there? Again, yeah, 54,000. You can't just say 54, you won't get the marks. And then estimate the median age, median middle. So of 64,000, where is the middle now? Okay, at 32, but it's already done for you. It's already added. This is what makes the cumulative frequency so nice. It's already added for you. So you can just read it off. In the table, you added it. Okay, now less than 30 is what? Now the last one, the median, so this is at 32,000, that's what you say. And what did you read off? So let's look at number 5. A circular board is divided into 12 equal sectors numbered from 1 to 12. A dart is thrown and lands on the board. Assume that it is equally likely to land anywhere on the circle. The score is the number in the sector where it lands. When one dart is thrown, what is the probability that it is a square number? So which numbers are squares now? 1, 4, 9. So it's 3 out of what? 3 out of 12, so the probability is 1/4. Then a prime number or less than 6. Now which numbers are prime now? 2. No, 1 is not prime. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. It's 5. And they say or less than 6 or both. So now we still have the 1 and the 4 and the or means you add. Yes, and means it's the same one. All means you add the 2. So it's 7 out of 12. And then when 2 darts are thrown, the sum of the 2 scores is calculated. List all the possible ways of scoring a 21. So how can you score a 21? 11 and 10, and then also 10 and 11, 9 and 12, 12 and 9. So now if I throw 2 dice or spin 2 spinners, what is the total number of outcomes that I have now? 12 times 12. I have 12 times 12. Yeah, but they say if you throw 2 darts, then you have 144 possible outcomes now. So this one is 4 out of 144. The probability is 4 out of 144. Then they say, the table shows the scores when a player throws 1 dart 30 times. 1 out of 36. What is the mode in the next one? What is the mode? Look at the table. What is the mode? 11 is the answer. The highest frequency is 6, but the number that we choose is 11. What is the median? What? No, but don't just say, I don't understand. The mode is the one that occurs most frequently. So the highest frequency is 6, which we read off at 11. Okay, then the median, arrange middle, but this one is arranged. So if there's 30 times, where will the middle be? At number 15. At number 15, half of 30 is 15. Now you add in your table 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 14. So it will be in the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 14. So the answer will be 10. It will be in the 10th group where we will find that. Now I want you now to do it with your calculator. This is where we're going to say 1 times 1 plus 2 times 1 plus 3 times 1. The 4 falls away. Plus 5 times 1, plus 6 times 1, look at it, you have to write it out like this, plus 7 times 2, press it on your calculators please, plus 8 times 3, plus 9 times 4, okay, so 2, 6, 7, divide by 30 times, divide by the 30 times. What is the mean? 3 significant figures, Abigail. Okay, and then D, to prevent damage to the wall, the board, which has a raised radius of 10, is placed on a wooden square of side 30. One dart is thrown by a beginner who is equally likely to hit any place. Calculate the area of the sector number 2. Now at this stage you can't calculate those areas, so I'm going to help you with that one. If there's 12 numbers, at the center it's 360 degrees. If you divide it by 12, this gives you 30 degrees, which means each sector here is then 30 degrees. So each one there is 30 degrees. The formula that we use, we still need to learn it, is theta over 360 of PR squared. This is how you calculate it. So 30 out of 360 times P, and what is the radius? 10 squared. Right, please make that calculation. And then they say, calculate the probability that the beginner scores 2, giving your answer as a decimal. So that means it is now this area over the original area of 900. Can you see if that wooden board is there? So we have to look at that over the 900. And what is then the probability now? So it will be 262 over 9,000. Removing the decimal. Because I don't want my ratio as a decimal. So I remove the decimal. Yeah, they say giving your answer as a decimal. So we can just say 262 divide 9,000. 0.29. Okay, now the next question is now a nice histogram. I'm going to do this one together with you. Then we're going to draw one. And then I'll let you try to do them on your own. The height of the plants of 25 plants were measured to the nearest centimeter. The results are summarized in the table. So there's my group, there's my frequency. The middle two classes are already shown in the histogram below. Complete the histogram by adding the other two classes. There's always a key. Either it's on the table or in the written part or in the graph. Now look at this graph, and this is not a very nice one because it works with those halves. So let's sort of ignore the halves and just work with the groups that they gave us there. So if we look now at the group between 14 to 19, in your table, this is actually the group 15 to 19. Can you see? And the frequency is 8. Now if we count there 2, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So on your axis here, you can write an 8. Yeah, the bar that we can see. So this gives us a frequency of 8. So somewhere you have to find a key. So that means that this here is a 1. Because 8 times 1 gives me the frequency of 8, which is in the table. Now if you look at the next one, 20 to 24, this one goes up to 7, isn't it? We will read this one off at 7. So 7 times 1 again is in the table, that's 7. But now we have to go to the other groups. Now look, this one was 15 to 19, so what was the bar width? 4. Leah, 20 to 24, the bar width is 4. Okay, now go to the top one back. 5 to 14, what is your bar width now? 9. The first one there, 5 to 14, is 9 now. But the number of plants is 4. Okay, as I say, this one is very confusing with the halves that we have here. So we're going to take that one for 8 now there. And the number of plants is 4. So, but the bar width is double. Can you see? So where this is 2 blocks, this one's bar blocks width is going to be 4. 4. And then it only goes up to 2 because the area of the bar gives you the frequency. Because this one's bar width is double this one's bar. Yeah, it's double the width. So it's inversely proportional here. Then we take the last one, 25 to 39. 25 is 14. So 4 divides into 14. Yeah, it's 6. It's 6 because the halves is throwing it out now. And the frequency is 6. So we're going to draw this one over 6 blocks, but 1 block high. 1 block high. That's the histogram. And then they say, estimate to the nearest centimeter the median plant height. Now I'm going back in my table. If there are 25 plants, this is arranged for you. 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 7 is 19. No. What is half of 25? Number 13. Number 13 is half. If I have 25 plants, then the median will be at number 13. It's an odd number. There's a precise one in the middle. 25 divided by 2 is, but 13 is then the one in the middle. There is a number in the middle. So 4 plus 8 is 12 plus 7, so it's the group between 20 to 24. That is the group that we are talking about. The answer is, it's in the group 20 to 24. You get it in that group. Okay, now complete the table. Calculate the mean height of the plants. Calculate the mean height. Now, what did we say? What is the key word for mean? Mid-value. Mean, mid-value. So they've made the table for you there to find the mid-values. And then we also make a new column FX, but it is on that table done for you. Usually it won't be. I want you to calculate that mean now. Everybody, count the mean. Right, Johannes, give me the mid-values here. 32. So you can see it might differ. It might have decimals. It's not just always the one in the middle. So the new one is when you multiply with the frequency. So here's actually an extra column with a frequency. And now we get FX. Okay, Abigail, what? 13687, 154, and this one is 6192. So now we get the total here, and you divide it by the frequency 25. So we'll divide by 24. And the final answer, 28. This question will be in every paper. To calculate the mean, the two in the group, you add them and divide by 2. Okay, so let's continue then with the worksheet. And you had, this is number 2 that we're looking at now. The depth of a river was recorded each day. We said, look at the graph, it's 365. Don't just look at the 400 on the left. There is only 365 days in a year. Use the cumulative frequency to find the median depth. So we already marked this, but let's just get the answers again. So I have now this cumulative frequency, and we will read the median off here at the middle of 365. So what was the answer for that median depth? 35.6. Okay, this is A1 then. Okay, close enough. Right, the next one, the interquartile range, which means now again Q3 minus Q1. And you have to calculate it now here. What is 3/4 of 365? And what is 1/4 of 365? And then we subtract it. So what is, okay, so that's how we get that 17, the range of 17. Then the next one, as I say, you might differ a little bit here. Then the depth at 40%. So you calculate 40, that percentile. Its percentages are 365, and then the number of days when the depth of the river was at least 25. So now we look here at 25 and we read it off, but at least mean it might be more. So you have to subtract it then from 365 to get the correct answer, which is what? 98. Okay, look at that. That's also a kind of question. 365 minus the point where you read it off. So where do you read off 25? At 90, 98. Okay. Yeah, but then 98 is not the answer. Then you'll have to subtract it. This is what I'm saying. Then you still have to subtract it. At least might be more. So what is the answer? Yes, thank you, Koros. 267 is then the correct answer there. Right, then number B. So now we're looking at number B. The table below shows the frequency table of the results above. Show that P is 47 and Q is 15. So now remember, this is a frequency table. So to get that, you actually first need to look at the cumulative frequency table or at the graph. So obviously, we will, so we can read off 60, and 60 reads off at what? 350, isn't it? 60 reads off at 350. But then, no, you just show how you get that. It's 350, and now what I do is I add all these values, 17 plus 41 plus 62 plus 98 plus 85, I add them, 303, and that's how I get the 47. So this is enough explaining if you show how you get that. And then obviously the last one is when we have the 365 then minus 350, isn't it? Minus 350, which is 15. That's how you get that. It's another way of asking it. Use the info table to calculate an estimate of the mean depth. So again, mid value, fx, getting that value there. So Jean-Pierre, just give me the total and the final answer. 35.79. This is B2, 35.79. Don't you have the values? Okay, because you will divide by 365, but then we need, what is fx? Is there somebody who's got fx? Okay, so now we go over to the histogram. So you can open your histogram so that I can see how they look like there. What do we write? The following information comes from the table in part B. A histogram was drawn to show the information. Now look at it. The height of the interval 20 to 40 was 8 centimeters, which means that 160 gives us 8 centimeters. So now we have to find a key there to calculate it, because what do we know about a histogram? The area of the bar gives the frequency. The area of the bar gives the frequency. So if we say the bar width is between 20 to 40, so can you see this is 20, and 20 times 8 gives me the 160. Can you see? So it's easy to find the key then there. Now the first one, 0 to 20, is also, the bar width is also 20, but the frequency is 58. So we're going to divide this one by 20 to find the height of that bar, and it will be 2.9 centimeters. And then we also have to calculate the last one. Now the last one's bar width is 30, and the frequency is 147. So again, you will just divide it, because the area of the bar gives the frequency. And Leah, what is this height? 4.9. Okay, so that's a nice question on the histograms. Then we also had to do question 3. A rugby team scored the following points in a season. Calculate the mean score. So this is very easy. Albert, what is that one then? 3A1, 16. So the mean is 16. 192 divide by 12, but this is then the mean. So this time it's not mid values because it's not group data. Calculate the median score. So that means you'll have to arrange it. So you'll start there with the smallest one, 3, 3, 6, 12, 15, 18, 18. Okay, which one is in the middle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 6 and 7 must be added and divided by 2. Is it 12 and 15? Okay, so then you add the 2 and divide it by 2. If it's an even number, this is how it works. So the median is 16.5. Then, which of these two scores would the coach use to show the team that they had a bad season? Yeah, I think the mean. The mean is more precise. The mean is a more precise answer that you get in there. And then, during an athletics meeting, the distances of 40 javelin throw. Draw a cumulative frequency table. So now we first have to draw that table. So it will be 4 And then the next one is 13, and the next one 28, 29, 28, 39, and 40, and then 40. You must always add up to that total again. Okay, now we're going to draw this one. So there's your cumulative frequency. Look at the axis. Yeah, but then you'll have to draw it if they don't give a scale, because it might happen then like that. So remember to label this axis as cumulative frequency. And the horizontal axis is then the distance in meters. Remember, in biology and physics, if you don't write this, you don't get a mark. They don't mark the whole graph. No, but in biology and physics, if you don't label the axis, they don't mark the graph at all. Then they leave it out. So now we have to draw it. So it will probably be something like that. Look that they say a curve this time, so it's with a free hand, not with a ruler, it's curve. And then the top 15% of the throwers made it to the final using the curve to estimate the qualifying distance. So what is 15% then of the 40 javelin throwers is, and so or you calculate this one and subtract it from 40. And then calculate the interquartile range. So the interquartile range is here at 37.5. That's where we get the upper quartile. And at 15, this is where you get the lower quartile. And we subtract that interquartile range. Okay, let's just check again. They say the top 15%. There's now two methods. So either, because 85 plus 15 gives you 100. Okay, and then number 4, that was also homework. The diagram shows the age distribution for a group of people who visited a local shop. The histogram and table shows the result. Use it to find the missing values in the table. So the table is on the next page. First, we need to find a key. So look at the first group between 10 and 20. This one goes 3 blocks up. Can you see? So they say between 10 and 20, and the frequency is 6. So the width of 10 to 20 is 2. 2 times the 3 blocks gives you a 6. Now between 20 and 40, the bar width will now be 4. And we read this one off at, look, the bar width is now doubled. This bar width was 2 times 3 is 6. So now it is 4 times 4, which is 16. 16. And then the next one, 40 to 60, so the bar width is again 4. What is the height? 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. The answer was 32. And then 60 to 70, now the bar width is again 2, half of it. 2 times 6 is 12. That's a nice one to again show how we read that off then there. Okay, so now the last questions that I would like you to do is now number 5. But I want us to do number 5. You can go mode, median, mean. I think that's easy. Let's look at number 6, where we're going to draw a histogram. Let's quickly do that one. The age, doctors' patients are grouped by age as shown in the table. 0 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 100. The bar width differs. Number of patients is given. Okay. Complete the following. 1 square centimeter represents how many patients? Now, if you look here at the 0 to 10 group of the age, then the frequency is 300 and it's 3 blocks high. What will each block represent? So what does 1 square centimeter represent now? 100 patients. 100 patients. Once you've got that, it makes it extremely easy. Use the histogram to fill in the blank in the table. So what will that one be? Between 30 and 60. Just count the blocks and times it with 100. No, I would say 1,200. 1,200 patients. And then draw the missing 2 rectangles to complete the histogram. Now, this is what I actually want you to do. So here's the first one. This one has a frequency of 300. Now, look at the next one, between 10 to 30. The bar width is now, so it's 1 line. Right, question 7. The mass of each baby born in the hospital during 1 weekend is recorded. The result for the babies between 20 to 4 are shown in the histogram. So again, there's a key between the table and the histogram. Look at the one, 2 to 3 gives us 10. So that between 2 and 3 is a 1. 1 times 10 is 10. Okay. But now 3 to 3.5 is half bar width. So what is a half of 20? Again 10. And then 3.5, so it's again a half, and a half of 12. 6 babies there.
God said. It's interesting to see if we have a look at John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In other words, what I see drives me to go out what I say. And I believe this is the goal of our Bible school, to teach me to see. And I dare to say what you see must change your heart. Because you cannot move out if you don't have a changed heart. By the word of God, everything is created. God wants you to speak the word so that things can be created. Say to your neighbor, created.
Hi beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler and I am here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration. So what's most important is that you take the time in each position that your body needs to release its tension. In this session, we will stretch the hips. What you'll need are yoga blocks or books, thick books, or pillows, especially if you have tight hips. You can do this on a mat, on the floor, on a blanket, or even in your bed. Let's get started. So we're going to start on the floor with the soles of our feet together. I'm going to grab around the feet. This is a butterfly position. So in order to warm up the hips, I'm just going to flap the butterfly wings. And again, take your time. I'm going to lean forward. And here, again, if the hips are too tight, you can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath. You might even feel a stretch in the back here. From this position, I'm going to take one arm right behind me, not too far from my body. The other arm, inhale, exhale, press the hip open. And come back to center. Change. One arm right behind me to lengthen the spine, the other hand on the knee. Inhale, exhale, press the hip open and back to center. Now we're going to lie down on the floor. And first, before I get started, I have to make sure that my body, my spine is in alignment. I'm going to just open up the neck area. And you can spend as much time as you need here, allowing the force of gravity to weigh on the legs to open up the hips. You can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath the knees. And gradually, you can take the feet even further down and spend enough time in each position. From here, we're going to go into an internal hip rotation. I'm going to spread my feet to the side, lean the knees inwards, If you have a little bit more flexibility, you don't really feel the stretch, just take your feet even further apart to deepen this internal rotation stretch in your hips. From here, I'm just going to place my feet, and without repositioning the feet, I'm going to take my arms to the side, and then I'm just going to rock my legs side to side, keeping the upper body facing up, shoulders down. And then I'm going to stop on one side, take the lower leg over the upper to add weight to deepen the stretch. Release the leg and switch. Other side, lower over the upper. And back to center. Last part, I'm going to spread my legs as wide open as I can, and I'm going to just row the boat. So what's important here is that the knees don't lift off the floor. Make sure you row both sides. Keep the knees and both bum cheeks on the floor. Alternatively, you can just lean forward. You can hang out on the pillow. Take your time on the blocks or on your books. And that is it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe into your stretches, and happy stretching.